Welcome everyone to today's live dive 3D CAD free drawing episode that we're hosting here on YouTube. For those not familiar, this is an addendum to our live Discord chat group, and we're asking everyone just to jump into the live Discord here. We'll post the link here in a few seconds for people who want to join. We're going to be chatting there, and I believe anyone who is in the Discord, if you talk, just be mindful we are live streaming onto YouTube, so mind your P's and Q's, gentlemen. Gonna post a link here into our YouTube chat here, guys. Again, let us know in chat for if you can hear us all right and any other questions you might have. I'm gonna drop that in there. Now, JD Crow 61, can you hear us all right?
Good evening, Alpha. Afternoon, morning. Yeah, I've got you good in both. There's just that delay on the YouTube stream between Discord.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, a bit of a delay, but in any case,
hello.
So let's just move on and begin and see how this thing goes. Now we are contending, for anyone listening along, we are contending with about a 10-second delay. It's just baked into YouTube, so this is very much an experiment to see how we can get a chat for the bunch of us on Discord into streaming on YouTube and trying to cross those two platforms as simultaneous as possible. Looks like there's a few seconds delay, and we'll just have to work through it. In any case, you're right, JD. When you're listening to us on Discord, you're going to hear me live. So I'd probably recommend turning off the volume. Maybe turning off.
Yeah, I've typically turned one off, but yeah, I'll probably turn YouTube off and hear you live. That way I can make sure I can remind everybody to like, share, subscribe, because there's some really good stuff in here.
Yeah. Okay. So let's continue. Let's continue. So today, guys, we're going to be, as we run through some sound check issues and whatnot, we're going to be testing a few of those things. But I do want to show you an update on one of the components that we discussed on a previous episode. Someone had asked if there was a way that we could somehow simulate simulate the smoke, or whatever you're going to call it, that puffs out of the tires once the tires hit the landing, once they hit the runway upon landing. So obviously pavement only, grasses doesn't count. So we, at the time, we sort of quick designed live a little component that would go onto the mains, and in this case we were talking about that MiG-29. So let me go to the MiG-29 and we'll zoom in here. And we free drew a device that's designed to clamp right onto the stock strut of the MiG-29. So we looked at clearance, making sure that this would be able to fit inside the aircraft after the undercarriage was retracted, and all of those important considerations. Trying to locate the device on the stock strut without needing to change the strutter or do a lot of modification. So that's what we started out with, and I'll show you what we ended up with as of today. Let me switch screens here. Okay, so here is now the final version. Final version is a 3D printed device. It's designed to print very simply. Got a couple little parts in it, a spring and 2 screws. And what this device does is you see this recess here that allows it to clamp over the stock strut and then secure with glue, or even we can bring a screw through and utilize the existing screws on that axle clamp. But the idea, guys, here is that we can insert into this area a pill. We were just used, it sounds funny, but we just use aspirin pills, gel-coated or gel caps, I should say, where inside it's a powder and the outside it's whatever type of material they use that'll disappear once you swallow it. So again, word of warning, I'm not recommending anyone go out and buy any specific medication and read the label and all that sort of stuff. But the reason why we're looking for a sort of a dry capsule is because this system is intended where you can very simply screw this onto your strut, lift this, what I'm calling the wedge, this guy here, push this upwards where it's in its completely sprung position, and a standard capsule, 500 milligram capsule, is going to allow you to insert the capsule into this cavity here. And then when you release it, when you release the wedge is going to sit gently on that capsule. It's not going to break it just yet, but it is sort of sprung loaded. And this takes us to the firing pin, this area we see here in blue. And that firing pin is actuated by a separate piece that is secured to the main strut, to the part that does not compress, such that when the axle, so this part we're looking at here is connected to the axle, when that is compressed relative to the main strut, that hammer touches this pin, the pin compresses, or I should say extends down into the cavity where the capsule is sitting, and this wedge shape, initially it was a flat face, but that wasn't really enough to both break and disperse the capsule. But this wedge design is sort of perfect. It splits the capsule as it's moving downwards. It splits the capsule, and as it continues to move downwards, it actually basically bursts the capsule. And this entire face on the side of it is open. The reason why I use this screw here is this allows you to easily slot one in, sort of analogous to loading a shotgun shell in a shotgun. It comes, you enter at an angle and slide it right in. So, and the advantage of that design is because the entire face is open, when the capsule bursts, all of that powder goes directly outwards. And as you can see, relative to the main strut line, it's designed to actually burst into the wheel. So it's designed actually to burst into the airstream, as it were, of that spinning wheel at the moment that it hits the runway. The sort of the finesse in all this, and in far as setup, which is why 3D printing is so convenient in being able to iterate these designs and test prototypes very quickly, is you want to make sure that it's set up such that you have enough force to compress the capsule and burst it outwards when you're at a typical landing speed and a typical sort of expectation of compression on the strut, but not enough force or not enough stroke where you're going to burst the capsule upon takeoff. So we're assuming you're taking off nice and smoothly on pavement, so that the only time that strut is really going to take a hard hit is the very first time you land. So you land, you get that nice puff of smoke or dust as you're touching down, taxi back, reload another capsule, and do it again. The elegance of the design, which is one of the things we talked about when we first created this, was we wanted to find a way to make something that was that was easy to install and was cheap and light, easy to create, easy for people to go out and replicate themselves, and didn't require any electronics, any pneumatic lines, none of that sort of complexity. So that's what this ended up being. I'm going to pause there and just do a quick latency check. Okay, guys, stand by. Gonna up the audio capture just a bit. Okay, check.
Good.
JD, if you're listening in on Discord, can you do a mic check, please?
I can hear you great, Alpha.
Just say hello once you hear this.
Hello, once you hear this.
Hello, once you hear this.
I see you blinking,
Okay.
Alpha, but I don't hear you.
And JD, okay, let's do a second test. Let's do, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. You're
Great.
gonna say 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
7, 8, 9.
No volume, Alpha, if you're talking. I see you lit up, but no volume.
7, 8, 9. Okay. All right, guys. So let's see. We're probably going to need to do a bit of troubleshooting here before I go too further on. I'm noticing that, yeah, I'm noticing that if I have my YouTube volume up, I can hear you guys. And the problem is, I can hear myself too. It's going to drive me nuts. Hey, Eric, how are you today?
He's muted right now, Alpha.
Oh,
Error
sorry
for
about that.
microphone. Hi, Eric.
Technicals.
How are you guys?
Okay, I'm going to jump in to do something else, guys. We'll jump in and do something else just while we continue to suss this out.
Just one question about this.
So
How are you
we had a
holding the
request
wedge in place?
come in. We actually did this one of the very first episodes, as I recall. But we had a request from one of the subscribers who asked if we could make a new video now that we're on YouTube. Just a very quick tutorial on how to do something like a NACA duct. So I'll show you how to do that very simply. Those of you not familiar, NACA duct is, well, sort of needs no introduction. But a NACA duct is an aerodynamic duct designed by NACA, not NASA. But it's intended to, for among other things, it's essentially intended to optimize air intake without breaking up the boundary layer. So it's essentially it's a low drag intake. It's not efficient to the point where it's sufficient to fly an airplane. There have actually been real life tests of aircraft that use NACA inlets in lieu of traditional intakes, and they didn't really work out. But we see this shape very, very often, very frequently on for auxiliary inlets for real aircraft, and also probably most notably on like F1 cars, race cars, and whatnot. So it's a very simple shape. However, it's a rather exacting shape. So I'm not going to delve too deeply into how to do that. But essentially, we have a curve, and then a taper, and then a longer throat. And in fact, while we're at it, we'll do something. Let's see. We'll do something a bit more to scale. Using Fusion 360, this is something that very simply we can add on at any given time. We can import a canvas, which is their fancy word for an image, and you can actually trace directly over a real NACA inlet that you find just online to get a better approximation of its shape. On the one hand, in real life, these need to be very, very exacting proportions. The structures are designed as they are for a very specific reason. You know, in RC, it helps to be efficient, but it isn't absolutely imperative, given that air molecules don't size down. So I create a half of that shape. Pretty simple. I'm going to do something else as well. I'm going to press M. I'm going to create a copy of that shape. Well, I'll show you two different ways to do it. I'll create a copy of that shape, bring that down a bit, and rotate it like so, such that when viewed from the side, there's a taper there. And we can then very quickly click the two inner surfaces and loft those together. Once that gives us a loft, to help you visualize, this surface is the outside. This would be the outside of the fuselage. And this surface here in blue, this is as we're coming into the fuselage or whatever housing you might have. Okay, so there's a slope. Now once we're satisfied with that overall shape, we'll go to mirror. We'll select the body. We'll select the mirror plane. And now we have that shape. Now of course, this is going to go back, so we extrude that back. We're thinking in terms of how do we make something that's easy to be 3D printed. So I'd probably leave it just like this. Probably print it flat on the bed, like so. And then once it's printed out, we would need to put a sheet underneath this bottom piece. So let me show you what that's going to look like.
Sorry to interrupt.
We'll go corner to corner. And extrude that out again. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You know, there's your NACA duct. To install this, you would cut a hole in whatever you're installing it in, and the air comes in here, airflow comes in here, and then enters into your plenum or your ducting or whatever else you've intended for it to go into. If we wanted to make something easier that we could maybe screw in, which is nice, we can simply select an offset or create an offset plane. We're going to bring that down just a bit. And now we're going to draw onto this plane. Just give you a quick example here. And we'll loosely trace those shapes. And extrude that down. Click OK. Now what this does is, if we were to print this, it gives us a flat spot where we can then either print a hole for a screw or a locator pin. Hey, Wes. Yeah, Air Guardian, I can hear you. I can hear you in Discord if and only if I turn up the YouTube volume, which basically means that it seems the way we've got it set up, which again, I'll have to change and troubleshoot later, but the way I have it set up, the Discord mic input is actually in YouTube only. So the good news is if I turn the YouTube volume on, I can hear all of us together. And YouTube, in fact, is recording all of our voices. The downside is if I turn YouTube volume up, obviously now I can hear myself twice.
Okay,
Hey,
so
Wes.
you are hearing,
Nice to see you.
and
We're
we're
just doing
getting
a test,
recorded,
just a test here.
but
with
we
our
don't
sound
hear
setup.
ourselves.
So that, guys, is how a very simple way on how we can create a NACA inlet. Okay. Yeah, there's a delay. There's a delay, Air Guardian. Now, so that's one way to do it. The one disadvantage of that simple way is the slope. Slope is a straight line. On a real NACA, it actually has a curve to it. So I'll show you how to very quickly, simply make one of those. We'll actually just jump from the top. These are so simple to draw, we can just start again from the beginning. So clicking the spline, creating my shape, making a couple of adjustments here. Okay, so this is our general shape for the outer face of the NACA. Now, rather than duplicating this and setting one at an angle, we're just going to, how do we make slot car track parts? Easy. Easy, Wes. So let's go ahead and split that. And while we're at it, we select our body. This is the body we want to mirror. We select our plane. This is the plane. We click OK, and there we go. Now, to do that slope, we locate the side. Click on the side. Press R. And now we'll redraw that slope. Now this is where you're going to look at your reference drawings. And the slope is also a very important sort of element. I'm going to eyeball this. It's going to look something like that. We're going to take this shape. And then pull that across. Now to make our hole that we've got going on down up in here, we'll trace that. Select. Let's assume you're going into an inner surface. And you're done. So that's another very quick way on how we can sketch out a NACA that uses the correct outside face, that shape. And from the side view, it's also the correct angle. If we wanted to face that print this out exactly as is, it's a very simple shape to print as we see. You're just going to put it flat on the bed like that. But just to show you what that's going to look like in final, I'll sketch out a surface here. Something like that-ish. And we'll bring this across. Sheet the entire thing. So what this gives you, again, it takes a minute to make, and once you make a couple of these and learn the scale of your aircraft and get a feel for the shape and the size and the depth and the overall profile of a NACA that is effective for your use case, you just save that and print them and put them in wherever you want. Now, I will say that from an aerodynamicist's point of view, you can't just bring air in, right? You need an exit. So as important as it is to plan where you're ingesting air, you always want to take stock of the volume of air being brought in and find a way for that air to leave the fuselage or leave whatever structure you're bringing air in. Otherwise, it's just going to collect and spin and not do any real good. Airflow is what actually cools and does work. Bringing air in alone is not airflow. Okay, so I think we've checked that box. So again, thank you to the gentleman who requested that, who is a subscriber and sent me that PM asking to see how this could be done, and maybe a quick and elegant way to draw those out. And I hope that that makes sense. Okay, let's try something else. Now I'm going to take a pause here, guys. We have just 5 people on, so this is good. It's just a small audience. Probably we have a lot of people who are busy. So while before next week, let's take a couple minutes now and try and figure out this sound input and output thing. Okay, JD, I'm going to be using you since I have your mic showing in Discord as live. The others are muted. Can you do another sound test for me, please?
Can you do it? Absolutely. Let me know what
Just
you
when
need.
you hear this, say, okay.
Okay. I see your light lit, but no sound there, Alpha.
Okay,
No
JD.
volume.
So in Discord, it seems like there's only like a 3-second delay. Can you talk normally?
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you see my light
I'm
lit
still
with no
looking at
sound
this
because
control
the sound
tower.
comes about 5 or 6 seconds later.
Okay, I'm with you. Got to travel halfway around the world to get to me, so that's understandable.
Okay. Yeah, you're looking at that control tower. We'll talk about that later since we're on YouTube Live. I can't talk about that. But
Yeah,
no, that's coming. Yeah. Yeah. Did you pick
it's
one
coming
up?
before Wes gets. No, I didn't. I just ran across it. I'm sure that'll come before Wes gets his slot car.
Okay. Neato. Okay, thanks, Wes. Wes, you're listening in on YouTube, I assume. So we're gonna. I know that there's a bit of a delay in there, so take a moment, or take a break here. I'm gonna do some lever changes, and then we'll see if anything's different. Okay. So stand by,
He joined
everyone.
the party
About
here
3
now.
seconds here. Okay, go ahead and talk, JD. 1, 2, 3. Sibilance. Okay. All right, so I can hear you live now. Squawk back at me. You can hear me in real time, JD, right? Okay. Okay, so there's one thing. So when I press this button, we're back to basically Discord. We're talking live. However, it does not appear now that the output is outputting to YouTube, which makes sense. Okay, so hey Wes, yeah. Alex got me set up and we tested it. It worked great about 9 hours ago, and of course he's asleep now, so
Of course.
I just don't understand why it works in testing, and once I live stream, it changed. When we live stream on his channel, it's fine. When we live stream on mine, it's not. It's almost as if someone doesn't like my YouTube channel.
Wes, I think there's a boozer
Hey
patch
Wes, do you use voice meter,
theme going on here.
What?
the program to balance your audio or to synchronize your audio?
No, you can do it in OBS. Are you streaming on OBS?
Back to delay now in Discord.
And I heard him
Yeah, I'm
laugh a
streaming
second
on.
ago.
I'm on OBS Studio, but I'm using Audio Meter to balance two inputs and basically take my Discord input and split it to Streamlabs and OBS. Yeah, I'm making some changes, guys, so there's a bit of a delay. Just stand by. We passed the 30 minutes of content for today, so now I'm just gonna turn this into 20 minutes of troubleshooting. Stand by.
I broke it.
I was trying to think about
Did you break
some
it, Wes?
solution for this.
I think I fixed it now. I've never Discorded off my phone.
Oh man, we broke it.
Would it be possible to use the screen sharing of Discord so that we are all synchronized here and then send the output to YouTube? Maybe it's a crazy idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have Alex look at this again on Monday and have him set up. Figure out a way. The thing is when he and I tested it, he got me set up on a new batch of software today, earlier today. And when we tested it, it worked fine. We were able to speak live in Discord as if all of us are in the same room. And then it's taking that content as if we're again live in the same room on Discord. It's taking all of that and putting it into YouTube. There's about a 5-second delay. But anyone who's only watching YouTube who doesn't want to talk back, they're able to hear, they can hear all of us basically. And they can hear, it's as if they're listening to all of us speaking in a room. So that's what we wanted. That's what we had. I just don't know why it's not working now, but it did 9 hours ago. Or 6 hours ago, or whatever time it is. So,
Well, there's the beauty of troubleshooting.
yeah, well, that's the beauty of it. Okay, so I'll have Alex do it. That's what I pay him for. I'll have him take a look at this, guys, on Monday when he gets back, and we'll reset for Tuesday. But at least this will be a short show. I gotta get back to work. We had a lot of toys that came in today. Okay.
And you need to get my slot cars.
Yeah, so now, Wes, now you're a slot car guy. Tell me about this. What got you into slot car racing?
I've thought about it for a long time, and then a couple of my friends, we decided to start a guys' night where all the wives go out and all the guys stay in, and we wanted something to do. So let's get a slot car track. And you know me, go big or go home. So I bought the most